All right, good morning from the best shaped state, Michigan. Today is Monday, October 6th, and I am in Zone 6B in Macomb Township, Michigan. And I made this video a couple days ago where I was doing my garden bed tour, and it turned into more of a kind of like a hits and misses of things I would buy and wouldn't buy again. So today I'm going to kind of re-record that and put it out there as things I like and don't like in the garden and things I would buy and wouldn't buy again. I've mentioned before in a couple videos that we've been looking to move for a while now, so that is the reason why the state of this is the way it is and why I haven't expanded it any further, even though I would love to take out about half of my lawn here. If we had just moved in, that would be the case, but since we're looking to move, I'm just trying to plan on like just holding it steady and saving things for the next garden. So hashtag next house. If anybody knows, like if you're looking to move or even looking to move, like it's a fine line of continuing to do things at your current house and looking to move. So I'm going to turn the camera around here and show you everything I have in my front garden. Okay, so right off the bat here we have a dwarf Alberta spruce, and it is definitely dwarf. This has not grown too much. I think I've had this 3 years now. It's maybe put on 4 to 6 inches, something like that. I don't love it because it has a very yellowish brown hue to it, and I've seen other dwarf Alberta spruces that are more just dark green. So for that reason, this one's out. So the next one here is a Gold Splash Wintercreeper, and I have 3 of these spread throughout the flower bed. And I really thought that these were going to grow to be a lot bigger. I thought these were going to, not that there's room here for them, but I still thought they would grow. I thought they were going to be about 3 to 4 feet wide and tall. And you can see this is pretty much the only thing that's grown on here. So um, I am going to hold off on deciding on this until I see how it looks in the wintertime, if we're here through the wintertime. Because the reason I bought it was that it is an evergreen and it's supposed to hold its color through the winter, and I don't have much of that in this flower bed. So that is Gold Splash Winter Creeper here. And then next one here, this is either Serendipity or Millennium Allium. And whichever one it is, they both basically look the same. They both grow to about the exact same height. They both put almost the exact same color. They both bloom at almost the exact same time. I'd say they're like a week or two apart, maybe. My issue with these is these are a late bloomer for an allium. These don't bloom until I would say mid to late June. So the foliage does start to come up at the first sign of, the snow going away in the wintertime and then to spring. So the foliage will definitely be there. But then when the flowers come, they start to disappear almost as fast as they're gone. I'd say that these only look like they're in full flower for about 2 weeks, and then they start to die. So I've been looking at dead flowers here for maybe close to 3 months now. So that's not cool. So these are definitely out. I definitely would try alliums again. I would prefer to try something taller. These don't stand up too tall from the flower bed. I would like something taller. And then the one I really want to try is Sargentii. It's I think it gets like 12 to 15 inches in circumference, but it's real cool. It kind of looks like a exploding firework. I found those the other day at a nursery, but they were, I want to say they were either $13 or $16 for 2 of them, and I thought that was a little bit much, so I didn't get them this time. Next to this is a Euphorbia. This is Ascot Rainbow, and I have one little dead spot here, but I think this was getting covered up by the Artemisia next to it. I just trimmed this back the other day. So this Ascot Rainbow, I really do like it. I really thought there was going to be more color to it. I thought it was going to have like orangish red, so I don't know if I missed that in the spring right before I bought them, because there was another flat of these that were more red, and I did ask, and they said, oh, that these are like a week or two ahead, but these never turned any kind of color. So I'm not sure. I don't know if they're going to get a color in the fall or not. I have 2 of these in this flower bed, so I'll show you the second one when I get there. But I like them because they remind me of the Van Gogh sunflower paintings, even though they're not sunflowers. But I think these would do better in a cluster to maybe have, I'd probably do like five or seven of them. I don't know if three would work for me. But to do that and then to give them a little bit more room, because right now they're pretty crowded out. So I do like them. I think just the shape of the foliage is awesome. I like the main foliage here, and I do get some of these here that have a little bit more just solid green, but I do like the foliage. I'm gonna circle back around to the front. I'm gonna try to stay on this side. So when I made this yesterday, I had to stop because we were in full sun here and it was not coming out very well. So this one here is, oh boy, this is a fireside 9-bark. Okay, yeah. So the reason that I think I'm gonna have to move these is because these are supposed to get 5 to 7 feet tall and wide, and this area is not even 3 feet wide in this bed. So these are definitely overcrowded. I've never had a 9-bark before, so I'm not sure if this is how they start to look in the fall here. If they start to get crispy, if they're not getting enough water, if they're getting too much water, if they just kind of start to look like they're dead for the fall, I'm not sure. So I do like the foliage shape and I do like the dark color, but I think there's one called Little Devil that's supposed to stay real small, like 1 to 2 feet. So that might be a better bet for me. I think I did see it at the time I bought these, but I think they looked a lot more bright red, which is why I passed on them. Okay, I have 3 of these, so I will show you the other 2 when I get there. These are the dahlias. They look awful. Actually, the one here, the Rip City that has the one tuber, that one's looking better now than Fairway Spur. I did spray insecticidal soap on them yesterday just because I'm like, why not? At this point, they're not going to bloom. So if they bloom with insecticidal soap, good for them. Um, so if you haven't seen that, I'm trying to figure out what I did wrong with these dahlias because more than likely it's me. I guess there's a shot that the tubers I bought weren't good, but who knows? I mean, if the tubers weren't good, I would just have assumed that they wouldn't have uh, uh, put up any foliage at all. I passed this one up, I'm sorry. So this one's brocade artemisia, and I did like it more in the summer when it was completely white. I did have to cut it back a couple times because it was overhanging the border here and it was shading out the grass. So the grass was starting to get a little bit yellow brown down here. So I had to trim these back to get more sunlight in there, but I definitely don't like this look. I've not had really good luck with Artemisia in general, especially Silvermound. I've tried to grow that one 3 times. So I'm looking for something that will grow as a perennial in Zone 6B that's going to be really good to get a silver or white color. So I don't think Dusty Miller is for me. I believe that's annual here anyway. So I am looking for suggestions for silver and white as a perennial, even though, okay, I lost my train of thought there. What I was trying to say was I'm looking for something that is a perennial with a silver white foliage, even though a lot of my perennials seem to only survive one season and live as an annual. So that's where I was going with that. So this blue spruce globosa, I think this is not going to make it. The needle cast here is pretty extreme. It's dropped its needles. It's got white needles, pink needles. This got heavily covered up by, again, the Palace Castle Artemisia. And I think that this maybe also stayed too wet. So I have a feeling this one's going to die, which is a bummer because this was $65. And I bought 2 of them at the time. So I really wanted to get this blue color in here. And oddly enough, the Palace Castle is doing it equally as well, although that's not going to be evergreen. It's not going to last through the winter. So I think I would try these again. I don't know if I would go for something so expensive right off the bat since I clearly don't know what I'm doing, but any suggestions on any of this stuff, if anybody with more knowledge and expertise is watching me and wants to give me some tips, I would greatly appreciate it. I'm open to it. So I don't know what I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing here. So so the spotlight finally now on the the Artemisia here. So this is Powis Castle Artemisia. This was pretty tiny, and like Silver Mound, this grew out of control pretty quickly. It was all wound through here, covering the blue spruce here into the Ascot rainbow. So I trimmed this up about 5 days ago, and I should have done that sooner. So I love the color. I think that next year, or if I ever have these again, I'm going to have to stay on top of these, trimming them back more frequently to keep them in check. I do not like how the insides of these look. I think they look pretty bad, but I guess that's not what they're here for. So, all right, next up is Stonecrop Sedum Autumn Joy. I have 2 of these in this flower bed. I originally had 3. One of them got destroyed by squirrels almost immediately. And then last year I had aphids on one of these. And luckily the neem oil took care of that within not even 12 hours. So I sprayed it with neem oil and washed it off. The next day they were gone and never came back. So I do like these. Their sedums seem to be one of the things that not that I can't kill, because I've definitely have lost some. And then I also have the hens and chicks down here, which I'll mention at some point. But sedums are harder for me to kill, and I definitely want to have more sedums. I have a fair amount. There's a few more down the road here that I'll call out, but I like them. There's a ton of varieties that are very similar to Autumn Joy that I would like to try also, that have slightly different foliage. But I think these are a keeper. I think that there's always going to be a spot for this in my garden at some point, somewhere. They do well here, at least. I mean, I don't know if I move a couple miles down the road if they're going to do as well, but here they do good. So next to this is a Gold Coast Juniper. I have 2 of these at this size, and this is actually getting really overgrown for the spot it's in. I've trimmed a couple branches off of it in late spring, early summer, off of both of the 2 here. There's one, and there's the other one right next to it. I'll show that in a second. And then in June, I bought 3 at Home Depot when they were on like a clearance. So I have 3 smaller ones, but I love the abstract shape of these, how they're just kind of going wherever they want to go. Unfortunately, they are a little bit too big for this bed, so I should probably do them a little bit of justice and move them into a different space. But I'd say these are a keeper. I don't love the smell of them. It does have that cat urine smell, so I don't like that. But I think they look cool, and this is one of the few things that are evergreen that are going to be here in the wintertime. I had these last year when they were a lot smaller, and it was one of the few things I had to look at out the window. So these are a keeper, and these seem to do okay for me. This is the only juniper that has done well here for me. Actually, no, this and Blue Star have done well for me. I'm thinking of, so no, junipers do well for me. It is cypresses that haven't done well for me. I get the 2 confused because they look similar to me. So next one up here, this is Cool As Ice Fescue, and I love these. I have 5 of them. I bought 3 initially from Telly's and Shelby, and then I bought 2 more that I found at Lowe's, and those were Monrovias. This is one of the 2 Monrovios, and here is the other one. I don't see a difference, to be honest, from the ones I bought at my local nursery. I think the Monrovias might have a little bit less brown, but they're also in slightly different sun and shade, that they get a little bit more shade here. These are my favorites for sure. This isn't a top 2 plant for me. I originally had the Elijah Blue Fescues, and those got really brown and shaggy, and then especially after winter, they hold that, and I try to chop one, and it just looks terrible. But these Cool As Ice look awesome. I was turned on to these by Sydney Dorman, and she's in Oklahoma and has a bunch of these. And when she first started talking about these, I could not find them about a year or 2 ago. And then this year I finally found them, and I couldn't believe it. So I bought some, and like I said, I love these. I would love to do, if I could find these really big, like the size of the Autumn Joy, I would just have this whole thing in Cool As Ice. I think that would be cool as ice. I think it would be pretty cool to have just a huge repeating row of them. I did miss another Wintercreeper here, so this is another Gold Splash Wintercreeper. You can see how much smaller this one is from the one up front. This is the one up front again. So this one, it's getting pretty crowded out by the Juniper and by the Autumn Joy, and then I also had the little potted dahlia next to it. This was apricot dahlia that I bought from Wiegand's nursery. So this one had buds on it, and it did get blooms probably from April until June, and then it's just been foliage since then. So not sure if I should keep this somehow or not. The flowers were tiny. They were really, really small for a dahlia, not what I was expecting. I thought maybe they'd get bigger. So that was my first dahlia experience. Another juniper here, also pretty huge. And then all throughout, I have these hens and chicks. This is from One Hens and Chicks. I'm going to try to show you as many as possible. Here's a couple more down here. Here's a bunch more in here. All in here. I love it. I love when they flower and they put out their death flower, their death bloom. I think they look really cool. The only issue for me is that they're so dark, they blend in with the mulch and they don't really pop out. Like they don't stand out on their own, but they are good as like a mulch on top of the mulch. I definitely would buy hens and chicks again, but I know there's a couple varieties that are like yellow and orange and green. So I'm looking to try those next. So here's another Cool As Ice. This one is the other Monrovia. Here is another Ascot Rainbow Euphorbia. This one is actually quite a bit taller and bigger than the other one. And this one's in more shade. So the one at the front here, that'll get clipped by sun here probably within an hour. I think it's like 11:30 right now. So usually by noon or 1 o'clock, we're in full sun there. And then this doesn't get into the full sun until late afternoon at this part anyways. The other blue spruce globosa, also crowded out, but this one is not doing as poorly, and I'm kind of wondering if this didn't get hit with as much rain. This is another fireside Ninebark, and this one is considerably taller than the other one. I'm gonna have to pan back here just to get it in frame here of how tall that is. So that's got to be, man, this might be close to 3 feet tall here, honestly. I was gonna say 2 feet, but no, I think this is over 3 feet tall. If it's got to be at least 3 feet tall. I'm gonna grab my measuring stick later and see how tall it is. But this is starting to get the crispy foliage here too. So again, I'm not sure if this is from too little or too much water. But I do like these leaf shapes. I think that if I keep these, I'm gonna have to move them somewhere else. I would double check my tag to see if these are supposed to be more sun or shade, but I do love the foliage on these. And then since I'm already on this second fireside, I'm going to show you the third one. This one's looking really sad. I think this one actually might be dead or close to dying here. You can see there's a lot of dead branches in here. A lot of black, a lot of wilted, totally burnt leaves, crisp up leaves. So I'm not sure if this one got too much water or not enough water, but I think this one could have got too much because I transplanted it in the summer when it was super hot, which is a no-no that I knew, but I still really wanted to move it. That one was over here next to this hydrangea that I dislike with a passion. So I just moved it over here and tried to make the best of it, and I thought it was doing okay. And then every time I would hit it with water, like the leaves would kind of come back up and do their cupping the way they normally do. So I thought it was going to be all right, but I don't think so. So if anybody's a Ninebark expert, definitely give me some feedback here, but I'm probably going to have to move one, if not all three of these at some point. In between here are my Amsonias. And when I bought them, I bought 5. I bought 3 and then I went back and bought 2 more. So I bought Halfway to Arkansas and Midway to Montana. There we go. And I think one of them was mislabeled. I think that the one odd tag that I kept, like I said, it was 4 and 1. So the one odd tag I think was just a misplaced tag because they look the same all year round. So when they put out their little whitish blue flower, they look the same. In the spring they look the same. Summer, fall, like, and now the only one that's changing is this one first for fall color. And that's this one here. It's a little bit hard to see because the sun's directly on it too, but this one gets hit with the sun first, so that makes sense why it's starting to change color first. So I love these along with the Cool As Ice Fescues. Those are my two favorite plants in here. I would like to do, like I said, a kind of a row of them. Another one that I thought of is the Northwind prairie grass. I've thought about getting a bunch of. And then I've always wanted to get some white mully grass, either white or pink, but I think white would look better here, just because I think pink would blend in too much with our house brick. But even for a future house, I would like to get white. I can't find mully grass here anywhere. So if you are in Metro Detroit and know anybody that carries mully grass plants, maybe gallon plants, I would love to know. I don't think it's something that I'm ready to start from seed yet. I'm just not equipped to try that yet. So I'm just noticing some weeds. So as soon as I'm done with this video, I'm going to pull them because my hands are tied now with the camera and the stick and my notes. But I also am a big believer in never walk past the weed, and then that's the only way you can kind of keep them under control. So so this gets back to either, this is the other Allium. This is either Serendipity or Millennium. But again, not a fan. I think the foliage looks terrible now. The flowers have been dead for a couple months. They get a lot of compliments when people see them and like, oh my God, that flower is so cool. And I'm like, it is, and yeah, it keeps deer away, but we don't have deer to worry about. We have other critters to worry about, but I don't think it's helped any. I see squirrels in there all the time, so not my favorite. Here's a chunk of a stonecrop autumn joy that I broke off with my foot, put it in the ground, and this was probably the size of the weed next to it when I put it in there, and that's just from this year. So that one's pretty cool. Next to this here, this is just a red Japanese maple. Nothing special, so I think this is just standard Acer palmatum. Red Japanese maple. Here is, let me not step on what's below me here. This is the new growth, and this is new growth probably within the last 2 months. But this stuff has been pretty crispy all year, and I'm hoping it's just crispy from the sun. I did have some damage here on the trunk, and I made a video about that where I repaired it with some sealer paste. So if you want to check that out, maybe that'll help someone, even though I'm not sure if it totally worked yet. But it's still good to know that there's something for your toolbox if you want to try to repair any wounds on your trees. That works on anything. So any kind of shrub or tree, anything where you have a cut in the stem, that'll work on it. So I think that video was helpful, and that product was like $12. I want to say that they dropped the price on it like $3 or $4 the day after I bought it and made the video. So that's always cool. Thanks, Amazon. I have some more of the hens and chicks in the back there. Just whenever I get more, I just throw them wherever I have room for them. So I've tried not to put too much here because this is kind of a walking path for me from here to this step. And I literally just moved this Japanese maple yesterday. This has been in the backyard, also getting crispy. This is a Crimson Queen, and I bought this for $20 at Walmart. But this is the third Japanese maple I've had in a pot. And this is probably the third Japanese maple in a pot that I'm going to lose. And now I'm seeing this graft is looking really, really bad. So that could be part of, yeah, this, I don't remember the graft looking that bad when I bought it, because if it did, I definitely wouldn't have bought it. But I noticed a squirrel digging in this yesterday, so that's why I moved it to the front. And I think I'm going to put it over here. I'm just going to put it in the ground. I had a Garden Ghost Artemisia here that died pretty much as soon as I bought it. So Garden Ghost Artemisia might take the cake in being the worst Artemisia next to Silver Mound. So I would say Silver Mound was not even as bad as Garden Ghost. All right, this is a Stonecrop Sedum Sun Sparkler Dream Dazzler. This one got hit by a mini tornado that was basically like the wind that's going on right now, and broke off the whole plant. And this is all that survived like 3 years ago. But I do like it. I bought it again and I haven't planted it. There it is. I like this one a lot. This is probably one of my favorite sedums. There's a bunch of dark ones like Mojave Jewel, I think. There's like some black ones, but when I looked at them at the nursery this year, they had a ton of bug damage, so I didn't buy any. So maybe next year I'll find some that are more healthy right off the bat. This one here, I believe, is Mojave Jewels. I am 99% positive I have the name on this one right. I don't have anything else written down about it. Normally I'm not a fan of it throughout the year, but it's kind of grown on me this year, and it does get these little flowers in the fall. I think it looks a little bit cooler. This one stays very low to the ground. You know, it almost grows as a ground cover. It stays so low to the ground. I probably wouldn't buy it again, but I don't hate it as much as I used to. So there's that. This one I definitely wouldn't buy again. This is called Juncus Blue Dart Rush or Push. It's pretty bad when you can't read your own writing and you're not a doctor. So um, I will put the correct name for this up on the screen. But I wouldn't buy these again. I bought 3 of these, and this is the only one that survived. The other ones died almost immediately. Like they just churned brown straw. So I thought these were going to get a lot taller, and that's not happening. Blue Star Juniper right here. I bought 3 of these at Home Depot on clearance in June. I know these are supposed to get a lot bigger. Also next to the Gold Coast Juniper that I have 3 of. So this is the section where I bought 3 Gold Coast Junipers and 3 Blue Star Junipers on clearance at Home Depot, just to fill in the space from what I had some false thread cypresses. I had 4 of them here and a Fire Chief Arborvitae that I planted in April, and by June, I at least returned the Fire Chief Arborvitae because when I bought it and took it out of the nursery pot, it basically came out like holding a shrunken head in my hand, and the roots were stuck in the pot. So I still try to plant it and hope for the best, but that thing died pretty fast. The 3 flop cypresses were just chalked up as a loss of time and money. So those just got pitched into the garbage, unfortunately. But they looked awesome because they were bigger and they were yellow. These I would get again. I can pretty much always find these on some kind of a sale, and they're a good space filler if I have an area that I'm not really worried about. And my concern was having this be bare if we did finally find a house and want to move. I didn't want this to just be, 4 giant holes from where plants were that died. So at least it's filled. I do have mulch to put in here that I've just been kind of holding off on. So that maple's going to get moved, so I have my stepping path back, and then if that maple survives, it survives. But at this point, I think I've realized that any Japanese maples that I get in the future are going to have to be planted in the ground immediately. And I'm probably going to need to buy them at much bigger sizes, so like 5, 7 gallon, 10 gallon, like established trees. So up here is one of 3 Carl Forester grasses, and again, I have kind of looked at these for years where I wanted them because I thought they looked really cool and tall, and they're very upright, and then I get them and they look not good. So they didn't get any height. They look terrible. I did move one pretty quickly, and it was really hard to get out of the ground even with my root slayer shovel. So I'm probably just going to leave these for now, but I definitely wouldn't buy them again. Pretty disappointing because Carl Forester grass is one of the grasses that is like, it's probably one of the top 2 grasses that people talk about. Although it sounds more and more now like people are leaning towards the north wind, especially because it's native. So that'll be the next one I try. In here, not sure the variety, but it's a panicle hydrangea that I really, really, really dislike. I think the foliage is ugly. I think the flower's ugly. I just don't like them. I don't like any hydrangeas, honestly. Liz likes hydrangeas, so I'm probably going to have something at some point, but yeah, I'm not a hydrangea fan. I've wanted to take these out for 18 years, so yep. It's been that long that I've looked at these, and every year I cut them back to probably about somewhere up here, maybe 6-8 inches off the ground, and they grow to about 4 feet tall and probably about 2 to 3 feet wide every year. So they do look good for a month or so when the flowers are more white, but again, it's just not my thing, not my favorite thing. So if I don't love it, I really don't want to put it in here, because even if I had a garden 20 times the size, I just don't want to get plants just to get plants. So these here, These are the Elijah Blue Fescues. I would not buy these again because I think they look too ratty. They're very brown. Um, the blue on these is not as bright as the Cool as Ice. I tried to trim this one back here. I chopped it down really good, hoping that that would encourage it to come back as more of the blue color of itself and less brown, but that didn't work. So these are outs for me. These are the grasses that you can always find at Home Depot and Lowe's, like usually pretty cheap. And this is why I bought them the first time. So, and this was well before I knew about Cool as Ice, but as soon as I knew about Cool as Ice, I knew I wanted to wait to find them. So, um, these are outs. Cool as Ice are totally in. These flop cypresses, they looked good up until a couple months ago, and I think these have been getting too much splash overspray from me watering, and I'm pretty sure these are dead now. Those stayed the same size for about 2-3 years here, these flop cypresses. And I did like them. I love the poppy yellow, but I think I hit them with too much water. So, okay, one final walk through here to go over the yeses and the nos, starting off here with the dwarf Alberta spruce, which is a no, would not get that again. The gold splash Wintercreeper, that's a TBD, to be determined. I want to see how it performs in the wintertime, how well it holds on to its foliage and color. The Allium here, either Millennium or Serendipity, both no's, so either one, definitely a no. Brocade Artemisia, that's a no. Again, looking for suggestions for silver or white plants for zone 6B that are perennials. Fireside Ninebark, this is a yes, but I think I would prefer to have the little devil here because I think it's smaller, but I do like the foliage shape. Not sure how I'm going to like the dieback and having to prune come spring. So rainbow Ascot Rainbow Euphorbia, these are yeses. I do like them. I think these look really cool. Blue Spruce Globosa, at this point I would say no because I'm not sure if this does well in my area and soil or with me personally with water, so I might not know enough about these to these would be a pretty big financial hit to keep buying Blue Spruce Globosas and having them die. So for now I would say I wouldn't buy these again. Dahlias, wouldn't buy these again. If anybody could watch that video and help me troubleshoot what I did wrong, I'd appreciate it. Stonecrop Sedum Autumn Joy, yes, I would buy these again. Palace Castle Artemisia, yes, I would buy that again. The one thing I would do differently is to keep it trimmed. Gold Coast Juniper, yes, I would buy it again, and I have bought it again. I started with 2 and now I have 5. These just work here. They can handle the sun, they can handle the drought, they can handle the water. So these are good performers. And I feel like hopefully it just got really windy here. If the plant can handle my lack of knowledge, then it's the plant for me. So next up here, Cool as Ice Fescue. These are 100% yes. This is like I said, this is a top 2 plant for me. I would definitely get these again. Okay, another Wintercreeper Gold Splash. So we already know about these. We know about the Autumn Joy. We know about the Gold Coast, the Ascot Rainbow, the Globosa, the Cool as Ice, the Ninebark. So now we're back to the Amsonia, halfway to Arkansas, midway to Montana. Either way, I would buy these again. I'm to the point now where I want to find even more Amsonias. I know there's a bunch of other varieties. Foliage looks a little bit different. Flowers look different. Definitely not buying them for the flowers because they don't last very long, but the foliage I think looks awesome all year in the green. And then probably towards the end of this month in October and then into November, these are going to start getting that yellow, orange, red color that I just love. It just looks rusty orange. Originally I bought these when Finnegan died and I wanted something orange for him in the garden, and that was like little drops of joy that kind of looked like his coat color. So anytime I can get orange or yellow in the garden here, I'm probably going to do it if I love the plant. So these I love. This and Cool as Ice, these are my favorite things. So if somebody's watching this and they see how much I love these Amsonias and this Cool as Ice Fescue, and you're more knowledgeable about plants than I am, you might be thinking, oh my God, this guy needs to see this plant, this plant that I'm thinking of that has this foliage look. Please let me know. I'm willing to check it out. I'm constantly watching garden tour videos and checking out garden books from the library, looking up plants. So please let me know. Back to this other Allium, Serendipity or Millennium. Either way, it's out. This Japanese maple's out. I love Japanese maples, but apparently not all of them. So this one doesn't look great. I'm sure it's in the wrong condition, getting too much sun. It's also planted too close to the house. I really thought this was going to act more like this Crimson Queen next to it. And I thought this was going to stay smaller, and that I thought it would be just a good little like waterfall type plant here, but it's not. So the plan is, if we are here in the wintertime when this is completely dormant, is for me to dig it out. I'm going to just throw it somewhere in the backyard, and hopefully it'll have a home back there. This Stonecrop sedum, this is the Sun Sparkler, Dream Dazzler. Definitely would get that again. Definitely would not get the Juncus Blue Dart here. That's up here. Would not get that again. Blue Star Juniper and the Gold Coast Juniper, I would get those again. They seem to be doing well here, even with the water splash. So those tell me that they can handle my poor gardening skills. So I would definitely get them again. Definitely would not get Carl Forrester grass. Definitely yes on the Cool As Ice. Definitely no on the hydrangea or any hydrangea, and then definitely no on Elijah Blue. And these I think these are false thread cypresses. So that is it. That is my garden. That is my extent of my flowers and my plants and my shrubs. All right, so that concludes my early October here garden tour, but mostly my do's and don'ts, woulds and would nots, things I would and would not buy again. Plant tour. This is just my little garden bed here. This is you're looking at everything here is mostly from this spring of 2025. Very few things were from surviving from the winter, and I'm gonna try to find pictures from before I put the fall cypresses in April, what it looked like then, and then what it looked like before then. So just to give you an idea, this is Zone 6B, Macomb, Michigan, and we are facing west right here. When you look out, this is facing west. So northwest. So this is full sun almost all day long. We do get this little bit of shade off the house and garage. That doesn't last too long, but in the fall it stays a little longer and it stretches out a little bit further. So I really hope this audio is going to be okay, because it didn't start out so windy, and I didn't put my wind cover on my microphone because I feel like it's been muffling the sound a little bit at the same time. So hopefully this is good. This is what I want to do more of. I've mentioned this in another video. I don't even remember if I edited it and posted it or not, because I've made a ton of videos that I haven't shared because I just didn't think they came out the way I wanted to. So the original plan was, if we were to stay here, this would get extended out even with the neighbor's garage there. So that is about 12 or 15 feet that this would come out further. So I would lose all that lawn, which oddly enough, that's like the part of the lawn that has stayed the best for 18 years. But that's besides the point. Like I could envision doing a lot more here, and then I could finally put some bigger trees here on the corner. I've wanted to put an Angel Falls there where the hydrangeas are, but I think the space that's currently there is too small. All right, real quick here, I wanted to check out what the width of this is. So this is 2 feet here. This is 27 inches, and I know it varies. I think there's spots where it is slightly wider and slightly shorter. Like in here, yeah, 26, so it's probably pretty consistent. When this was built, I'm assuming they were going off of like 30 inches, something like that. 36 maybe, because these are about 7-8 inches wide each. So they probably did 36 inches total width, including the pavers, but they still managed to get off a little bit here and there. And then I wanted to measure the height of this guy here. So this is over. So this is just over 3 feet tall. So 36 inches on that Ninebark. And then this Euphorbia, that is considerably bigger. that's about 25 inches, whereas this one is maybe 18 or 20. Yeah, 18. So that's the garden tour. That's the yeses and the nos for me. So again, if anybody has feedback for the brocade Artemisia, for suggestions for silver or white perennials, zone 6B, if anybody has suggestions for my Ninebarks, if they're totally dead, or this Bruce globosa, pretty much everything in my garden. If you have suggestions on if I killed it or didn't, definitely let me know. But the main things are that the Cool As Ice Fescue and the Amsonias here. These are my two favorite plants. So if you have suggestions for more plants that look like these that would do well here, please let me know. I appreciate you watching and listening to a newbie trying to talk about plants. So yeah, believe it or not, this has been my new passion pretty much for the last, I don't know, 4 years so, since COVID, I guess. I got into it, so thanks. All right, I just wanted to wrap up this video and apologize for some of the audio issues with the wind. I wasn't wearing my wind cover on my microphone, so I'm wearing it now, and the wind is definitely picked up. So I think for the rest of the year, I'm definitely gonna have to wear my wind cover. We are in the thick of fall here, so I did just want to say thanks again for anybody sticking through it, and I hope this video finds you well, and I will see you in the next one from the great state of Michigan. Peace.